welcome Sir Roland Barcelon. He will talk about progressive education in the Philippines and what it looks like now with the implementation of the K to 12 basic education program. Also, he will talk about his lived experiences as a public school teacher. Thanks everyone for listening. Sir Roland.
To our highly esteemed professors, Dr. Maricris Asidom Muega, Professor Joanna Rose T. Lederan, to my group mates, Sir Ray and Ma'am Kate, to you classmates, good morning. As we all know, progressivism is a philosophy in support of the social reform on the idea of progress, in which advancements in science, technology, economic development, and social organization are vital to the improvement of the human condition. With this, I'm sharing to you all the progressivism in Philippine education. To start with, there is a first glimpse of the pioneers of the progressive education in the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, the pioneers of the progressive schools in the Philippines from the book of Almario et al. 2020, entitled School is Life, Progressive Education in the Philippines, which I bought it from Shopee. Okay, so one of our classmates now, Ma'am Judy or Ma'am John Lee Santos is one of the authors. Hi, Ma'am Judy, are you there? Okay, so number one in the list is a school famous, okay, for being a pioneer in progressive education, developed from and for the Philippine Democratic Experience, located in Quezon City, Philippines, and founded in 1949 by Doreen Barber Gamboa. Folks, I'm referring to Jose Abad Santos Memorial School. Next in line is a school located in Quezon City. It's a laboratory preschool of the Department of Family Life and Child Development, or FLCD, and founded in 1956. Folks, it's the UP Child Development Center, or UPCDC. Our third pioneering progressive school was established in 1983. It's famous for practices of developmental interaction approach associated with Bank Street College of Education in New York City. I'm referring now to Community of Learners School for Children located at San Juan City, Philippines. Our last school in the list was established in 1984 by Professor Ana Francisca T. Castañeda, okay, which is famous for experimental integrative approach in education. I'm referring now to the Learning Tree Child Growth Center. With the advent and progress of science and technology and other related entities, the DepEd, or Department of Education, introduced the K-12 curriculum for all learners, which could be identified as part of a progressivistic approach, etc. Okay, next slide po, ma'am. According to Almario et al., 2020 of the book School is Life, a progressive school must be a child-centered, experience-driven, and experimental. Teaching and learning are active and open to change, just like what teachers are doing in the K-12 curriculum. Further, the K-12 system aims to improve Filipino students' skills in mathematics, science, and linguistics to further exhibit competence in the global job market. Specifically, K-12 Basic Education Program, which adheres to Republic Act 10523, or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, is geared with these 8 key principles as stipulated in the DepEd Order number 21 series of 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, the 8 key principles of the K-12 curriculum. Number 1, the curriculum shall be learner-centered, inclusive, developmentally relevant, and appropriate. Learner-centered in an approach to education that puts the needs and interests of the students at the center of the teaching learning process. The curriculum shall be relevant, responsive, and research-based. It is based on the learning theories, principles, sound research, and studies in teaching and learning dynamics. The curriculum, the third one, the curriculum shall be culture sensitive, which means that instruction must respect the cultural identities of the learners. The fourth one, the curriculum shall be contextualized and global. Relevant, appropriate, and responsive curriculum will only become a reality if it puts a premium on the personal, biogeographical, and socio-cultural setting of the learners, taking into account the demands of the national and global community. The fifth one is the curriculum shall use pedagogical approaches that are constructivist, inquiry-based, reflective, collaborative, differentiated, and integrative. We are all aware of the similarities of the progressivism and constructivism, right? Okay, so both of them belong to student-centered education philosophies. Both of them believe that the child should lead the content of education. And both of them view teacher as a facilitator rather than a traditional teacher. Okay, the sixth one is the curriculum shall adhere to the principles and framework of mother tongue-based multilingual education, or the MTV-MLE, in the early grades. Instructional materials and capable teachers are of course ready to help. The curriculum, number 7, the curriculum shall use the spiral progression approach to ensure the mastery of knowledge and skills after each level. This pedagogic feature follows the idea that concepts are introduced at an early age and depend in succeeding years. Okay, so the last but not the least key principle is that the curriculum shall be flexible enough to enable schools to localize, indigenize, and to enhance it based on the respective educational and social context. The production and development of locally produced teaching materials shall be encouraged, and approval of these materials shall be divulged to the regions and divisions, subject to the approved standards and monitoring at the central level. Ladies and gentlemen, the K-12 curriculum, okay, so once and for all, okay, aim to develop life and career skills of the learners, communication skills, information, media, and technology skills, learning and innovation skills, wherein okay, the learners are expected to be ready or somewhat ready or ready for employment, entrepreneurship, middle level skills development, and of course to be ready in the higher education. Classmates, allow me to share my lived experiences as a K-12 curriculum science teacher and the fun of progressivism. Progressivism. I'll be sharing to you some photos and videos of my classroom and school activities adhering to the K-12 policies and strategies, which I believe would be part of the so-called progressivistic approach. Okay, so allow me to present my slides. Ayan, thank you so much, Ma'am Kate. Okay, so now, classmate, I have here a picture. Okay, so okay, so can you guess why they are standing there? Actually, they are standing there for as special science activity. Okay, so this is okay. So I am sharing now an activity that I have implemented in way back 2018. Okay, so now it is based on the authentic learning. It is based on the okay, so it is based on the idea of the authentic learning. Okay, from the book of yung slide bomb ng authentic learning. From the book of Almario et al. Ayan, thank you, Ma'am Kate. Okay, so it is from the book of Almario et al. 2020. Okay, so then according to this, authentic learning is described by Newman and Willard in 1993 as the students being able to construct meaning and produce knowledge by themselves. It places learners at the center of teaching or child-centered approach. Students can learn the skill of initiative, problem solving, critical thinking, communication skills, non-routine complex tasks, and collaborative skills. Okay, so thank you, Ma'am Kate. Okay, so now the following 2 slides will show okay, my activities. The first one is a blood typing activity I allow the students to explore all about blood in relation to blood types. Okay, so type A, type B, okay, so type O, okay, so and so on, or type AB. Okay, so they are going to identify in the laboratory, in the science school laboratory, okay, so about their blood. Okay, so they will know their blood types actually. Okay, so by the use of reagents. Okay, now the is a pig heart dissection. Okay, so the next one here is a pig heart dissection, which allow the students to explore the topic on the topic on circulatory system. Okay, next slide po, Ma'am Kate. Okay, so this is a pig heart dissection. Okay, so the pig heart dissection allows the students to trace the flow of the blood. Okay, allows the learners to trace the flow of the blood. Okay, so wherein we use pig's heart, it's because the heart of a man is seemingly the same with the pig's heart. Okay, so accordingly, okay, so almost the same. That's why it is an exploratory one. Now, okay, the second one that we'll be sharing to you is the so-called authentic assessment. Authentic assessment can be, or there are two types of assessment. It can either be written or performance. Now, for written, it can either be formative or summative. Then for performance, it can be by class, by individual, or by group, or it can either be in an integrative way. Okay, so and when I conduct an assessment, of course, it is always guided by a rubric. Now, so according to DepEd Order number 31, Semester 2020, rubric is a learning and assessment tool that is used to evaluate written outputs, products, or performance-based tasks. Okay, it is a scoring guide that articulates the expectations and describes the levels of quality expected from a learner. Okay, so that's the and the orders of that one. Okay, so then in the performance assessment, we conducted integrative summative assessment. I'll be sharing to you the next slide. Okay, so in which we conducted the integrative summative assessment based on DepEd Order number 21 series of 2020 on the policy guidelines. Okay, so for the pandemic time. Okay, so we instituted in our school, we called it a summative assessment or integrative summative assessment. I am the leader of that. As a master teacher, okay, so I lead our team at grade 10 level. Okay, wherein one activity of the class corresponds or will be equated to 8 subjects or will be graded by all by 8 subject teachers. Okay, of course, from the English, Filipino, Math, Science, MAPE, TLE, ESP, Araling Panlipunan, and the TLE. Okay, so for the Mandarin. Okay, so the next slide here will show some of the pictures, okay, of the project. We call it as Gulayan Sanayon, a vegetable cooking show. Okay, so next slide will present the format. Okay, so on how we did about that integrative summative assessment. Of course, we used the GRASP as a rubric or as an activity format, okay, for the students to follow. GRASP stands for goal, role, audience, situation, product or performance, standards, and criteria. Okay, so I'm showing to you the next slide. Okay, so this one, we conducted an online orientation. Okay, so for about this one, so that the parents can be oriented on what to do, including their kids. Okay, that's the online evidence, MOB, okay, so of our activity. Okay, so next one here. Okay, so it's a video. Okay, so ma'am, ano pa ba konti? Okay, so next one here is a video of one of the outputs. Okay, so of our progressivistic approach. Okay, which I consider it as a progressivistic approach. Okay, so with that, thank you so much and God bless us all. Thank you, Ma'am Kate. Salamat, Sir Ray. Class.